First guest today, Maria. And I am actually going to turn it over to you, Maria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just see where this journey takes us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. Such beautiful, beautiful energy that we're in right now. Well, a little bit about myself. I was born awake, and it was a very interesting journey because I started working with my guides and my angels when I was very young, when I was 6 years old, as young as I can remember. And they were my first mentors. So I really started learning about what was beyond this world and really being in different dimensions and different worlds, exploring different planes of existence. So it's very beautiful. Um, and then I realized when I started having these conversations with my mom that I came from a lineage of shaman, my grandfather, um, and so on. So it's very interesting. And as I continue with my gifts, I didn't really step into them fully when I was young because I didn't really have a mentor at that time. But when I was in college, all of a sudden I had different visitors. It was a little bit overwhelming. So that's when I decided I needed to get some mastery over, have some mastery over what I was here to do and really understand my mission. So I think it was 18, 19 when I first started working with my first mentor, and she was a shaman. And from there, I just continued to develop my skills. A lot of them came when working with people. Um, and as my work evolved, I moved more into the empowerment, which for me is very fulfilling because when you have the freedom of choice and freedom of creation and you live in that empowerment and that knowing that you are creating your reality, it's just so amazing. And I love to see people around me, especially those that, came here to learn different things, to evolve into and create something really amazing to actually accomplish that and achieve that. It's so rewarding. So my work now is about, first of all, being that authority in your life, being that in that oneness and alignment, living in the highest frequency, living a high frequency life, living in your vibrancy and creating from that space and honoring all parts of who you are as a dimensional being, your mind, your body, your spirit, and living in the state of knowing the state of source, source intelligence, and creating from that space of magic. So that's what I'm about.
I absolutely love it. Before we continue, there's a few people that have mentioned that they're having a hard time hearing you. Are you on your computer?
I am, but is
That's
this
better.
okay?
That's
Perfect.
better. Yeah, that's just because sometimes the mic on the computers are almost better than those other mics. So is everybody here better now? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay. Oh, all right.
Perfect.
Fireworks on that one. Oh, talk about high frequency. I love that. All right. So let's just dive right in because I know you're doing such amazing work and I know that you have an amazing journey, and I know you shared just a little bit about that. But my first question is going to be, how do you keep your vibe high when you are around lower vibrational environments? And
Mhm.
I know that's a question that so many people are, if they're not saying it out loud, they're thinking it in their minds. And I think it's just a gift to kind of share your wisdom around that. And then we'll go into the conversation.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question because I do get asked that a lot, especially when working with somebody and they say, how do I stay in this space? And one of the things I think is important for us to remember is that everybody is where they're at, right? You interact with different people and they're where they're at. And for me, the important thing is to see them where they're at with unconditional love without you diving into their field, staying sovereign in your own field, but holding the space for them to, take that next step for themselves without you sort of imposing on them. So holding that space and staying in your own field of consciousness, in your own field of vibrancy, in your own field of joy, in your own field of happiness, in your own field of gratitude, in your own field of empowerment. And I think when you stay in your own space and you find peace with who you are, you don't feel like you need to lower your vibration to match others. There's a sense of peace, but there's a sense of sovereignty within you that helps you maintain healthy boundaries, helps you stay in that state of joy and gratitude, and helps you stay intentional in who you want to be in the world and how you want to show up in the world. And by staying in that space and that beingness, and it's sort of like your core values, right? This is the way you live. So other people can see that and often become inspired to match that. And then that's how we change the environment around us without being taken into or without the need to lower our own field or vibration.
So the question that was coming in as you were speaking, I know you have children, and I just was spending the weekend with my two girls. My daughter actually graduated over the weekend, and this conversation came up after the first night that we kind of spent together as a family, and it was this place of when somebody else is sad that we feel in order to connect to them that we almost have to meet them in their sadness. And this was a conversation that both my girls were having, and they're 22 and 23 now, so it was kind of fun to watching them have this conversation. But I know as a mother that sometimes that's the one place that it's a little bit harder to maybe hold our frequency when
Mhm.
we see a child suffering. So that's where it's going. So we're going to go there.
Yeah, I love that question because I do have three kids, right? And they're still young, 10, and two of them are twins, so 12. Um, and when you see their suffering, when you see their pain, first of all, yes, we want to empathize. But what I find, and what I realize that if we go deep into that sadness, deep into the grief, we can't really be supportive. We can't really help them because we're all in it and we can't see the possibility and opportunity beyond that. So what I've learned to do with them is obviously, to empathize with them, sort of create a space of, okay, if this is what's happening and this is what you're feeling. So acknowledging their feelings and validating their feelings, but then walking them through the lesson in that. What is this about? What can we learn from here? What is possible or what is good about this that we're not seeing? So we kind of take a step beyond that. So we don't take away the experience, the human experience, because that's what we're here to do as well. But how do I help them evolve into being resilient with their emotions, being feeling like they can manage or they can get through situations. And so those are the tools that I offer them in terms of, okay, what are you feeling? Feel what you're feeling and let everything move through so you're not holding on to it and it's not getting stuck in your body and creating something else. But then how can we move forward from here? So what's the lesson here? What can we learn about this? So we go into not necessarily the intellect, but the bigger picture and the growth in this. So that they can experience themselves and have the tools, especially when I'm not there with them, to be able to get past to that sadness, that anger, or that grief that they're feeling.
The question keeps coming to what is your favorite tool to ascend past emotion?
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I do love this one because for me, everything is about being, right? And that is my tool. So when there's something really traumatic happening or something that feels so overwhelming, or there's a huge sort of problem showing up, the first thing that I go into is into being, into me. So into connection with source, into the higher frequency. Because when we're in the overwhelm, when we're in the stress, when we're in the I don't know what to do about this, we're actually out of that higher frequency, source frequency. So for me, it's coming into my heart space or coming into the center of the head and having that connection with source frequency, being in the highest frequency of light that I can embody. And then just being in that stillness for a moment, knowing that everything is actually good with the world, everything is actually good with me. If I can just be in that moment and experience that peace, that connection, then I know the answers kind of come forth. I know the solution will present itself. I know it's going to be taken care of. So there is a level of trust there as well. So trusting in that knowing and then coming into that space of I am and experiencing the frequency within me and the expansion of it through me. And that is the tool that I use and what I practice daily as well.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, I want to go back to this place because I always like to tune in and hear kind of what people are asking. And when you came to that place of there has to be trust and trust in something that we can't see or prove or understand, that to be able to trust in a frequency. And that's what this is all about, is to live in frequency or to identify in frequency beyond our programming. And I know that that is the one place that so many stumble, is that place of trust. So I want to go into that just a little bit on
Mhm.
kind of how you navigate allowing yourself to hold that place of trust. And when it gets challenged, maybe some of the things that you do to step back into it.
Yeah, that's a good question because I think a lot of us do struggle with that, with trust, with faith, with surrendering, with allowing. Um, and I want to say that trust is something that it's like a muscle that you build, especially for me. I know that over time, as things have happened and I didn't trust and I realized, oh, I'm not trusting, that I started working on the level of surrender and the level of sort of giving it to a higher source, a higher power, to letting the divine work through me and for me. And so that's, and then making that choice of, okay, I don't have the answer, but I know that the universe does. So it's like handing that over to something greater than myself, you know. And this is something that I actually teach as well, and to my kids as well, is that when we try to figure out from our mind, we're limited. But when we surrender ourselves to receiving, the downloads or the wisdom from the universe, we're infinite. So
Mm.
when we feel trapped or when we feel limited, and if we just surrender, and it's a choice, so we get to choose how we're going to be in the behaviors and the actions that we're going to take. If we don't choose, then we're choosing to stay where we are. If we don't take any action or any practice, so the action is a practice, then we're choosing to stay where we are. So we're going to have the same results. So trust for me and for many people has been sort of a muscle that we've built, especially in those times that we don't trust. Okay, I get to trust right now. I
Mm.
trust, I trust, I trust. And I keep leaning into that trust, even if I don't know what's there, even if I don't know what the future holds, even if I don't know who is going to support me in that action or who is going to help me resolve that or how it's going to be resolved. Is I get to trust. I trust, I trust, I trust. And in reality, so a lot of things that I've learned about working with people and myself is we're not trusting ourselves. And if we're not trusting ourselves, we're not trusting in anything greater than ourselves. So we get to look at, well, why is it we don't trust ourselves? And a lot of times it has to do because we're judging ourselves and we're blaming ourselves from past experiences. So that's when the healing comes in, the integration of all parts of ourselves that are stuck in that old, sense of, yeah, of something that didn't go well or that old sense of failure. So we get to heal and forgive and come back into the knowing of everything is part of what we're here, is part of our evolution as a being, and is here to help us grow. So if we look at it from it's part of the evolution of who we are instead of that's wrong, that was a failure, then we're in the expansion. We're in the expansion of creation versus in the wrong of what was, or in the criticism, or in the contraction of creation.
What I was feeling is you were speaking, especially kind of when we look at our past and we're afraid to maybe trust in ourselves because of mistakes that we've made.
Mhm.
And immediately I went to this place that of knowing where we're choosing from, how that's so important. And in our society, there's so much, even just the way that we're marketed to. It's, oh, buy now, buy now, buy now, or you're gonna miss out. It's all directing, and I feel like it's starting to change a little bit, but it's
Mhm.
really directed towards the primal response in creating an emotion of either missing out or creating an emotion of what you're going to have. And everything is like kind of set up with that. And I think what it's created is this place where we're choosing based on either creating an emotion or avoiding an emotion. So I'd love to go into that just a little bit and how you teach to identify where we're choosing from, because I feel like that's such a deep level of trust when we're kind of going to that place of not just trusting ourselves, but trusting in the guidance that we're getting through that
Mhm.
divine frequency.
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a beautiful question because it's part of the process of the healing, healing yourself. Because we have all the ability to heal ourselves. When we look at the past, so when we identify a place or a time where we feel like we made a mistake or we made a wrong choice or we failed at something, then what I like to do is to go back and actually look at who you were, which is what you said, is how you were choosing. What was the sort of underlying belief, underlying story, underlying emotion that you were choosing from? And often what I find, or often what we find, is that we were choosing from fear. We were choosing from lack. We were choosing from scarcity. We were choosing from feeling unworthy. So if we're making those choices, then we're going to get a similar result to that lower vibration. But when we choose from happiness, when we choose from being completely open and surrender, when we choose from gratitude, when we choose from grace, when we choose from just complete joy, or just from being like everything is good with the world and everything is the highest good with the world, then it's a different result that we get because it's a higher frequency that we're choosing from. So part of that healing is not judging yourself, and to not judge yourself is to understand yourself. So when we go back and look at an event, then we can feel the compassion for ourselves for what we knew and for what we didn't know. That's all I knew at the time,
Mm.
and that's how I made those decisions. So we can connect to those parts of ourselves and experience that compassion, experience that love, experience that kindness to ourselves. And then we can start integrating that part of ourselves instead of feeling like, I don't want to think about that, or I don't want to know about that, or I don't want to go back to that, it's too difficult. Then we can love that part of ourselves as well into wholeness, into light, into joy, into happiness, into love.
Mm. Okay, I have to laugh because as you were talking about, oh, I just didn't know any better, and that's what I chose. I literally heard somebody going, oh, yeah, I knew better and I did it anyways. And I think that that happens. But what I love about that comment is that at least we were choosing it consciously. Even when we knew we were choosing what probably wasn't best for us, at least we're doing it consciously. So, where I'd like to go next is when we do choose from that place of joy and even from that place of gratitude and clarity, and those choices are from a higher frequency, what I find is sometimes it's actually easy to say yes in that frequency, but the hard part is what comes after, because to be able to continue to choose in that frequency when there's no evidence of what it is that you've chosen is when kind of the fear starts to come in and we start to lose trust in the choice that we made. So I want to go there.
Yeah, yeah. That yeah, that's important too. And I feel like the fear comes up when you, especially when you haven't sort of worked through the relationship with fear. Uh, for instance, if you make a choice and you move into a high frequency, but in the past fear was driving you, and you just kind of switch from the fear to now I'm going to switch to that, but you didn't really resolve anything with the fear. The fear often is fear of the unknown, fear of failing, fear of succeeding and not being able to maintain that success. So not understanding your fear when it shows up again, you're going to see similar patterns, like patterns of not following through or kind of falling out of your intention. So I feel like it's important to understand your fear and to develop a different relationship with it. For me, fear is an opportunity
Mm,
because fear, what it's showing you is an old pattern of yourself. And when fear comes up, let's say you're making a decision and all of a sudden you feel the fear. The fear is just saying, remember when you used to dream big and fear came up and is showing you an old part of yourself. There's still a part of you that wants to heal or wants to integrate or wants to align with this new vision that you're creating. So that's the fear, something old within you, for me, that is unresolved, that is just giving you information for you to stretch to the next level, to up level to the next frequency. So for me, when the fear comes up, I celebrate. It's, oh, this is really interesting because this is showing me that in the past, when I was getting ready to take this big leap, this fear would show up and then that would create an old pattern. I would go sideways or I would retract or I would start overthinking and analyzing it. Well, I'm not going to do that today, but I'm going to look at the fear, which part of me is still in there. And then I can heal, integrate, love that part of myself and align that part of myself with we are safe here now. We deserve this. This is really amazing. We're here in service to the world. You know, whatever that is that we're now in front of that can create that expansion for us and to continue to move forward and allow fear to be there, but not to derail us.
mm.
Fear becomes something different. It becomes an indication of a big stretch. It becomes an indication, an opportunity to integrate a part of yourself, or it becomes an opportunity for you to, you know, to quantum leap into a higher version of yourself.
Let's go with that last comment that you just did, is quantum leap into a higher version of yourself. What kind of tools do you teach in order to allow somebody, and maybe not allow, to support somebody to making that quantum leap? Because I know identity is such a huge part of why we struggle to change. And so I'd love to
Mhm.
go into that a little.
Yeah, yeah, and identity is, you know, identity is something that we adopt from early childhood, but it can change. We're constantly reinventing ourselves, and that's the conscious choice that we make when we make that, you know, when we move into that quantum leap. But often we can't make that choice or we can't really align with that new identity if we have things that haven't been sorted out, like the fear, like the judgment, like the other things that are part of the old identity, right? If the old identity was I don't follow through or um, I'm not ready for this, or even like identities like I don't deserve this, or I'm not a good person, or I haven't paid for everything that I did, right? So these are all things that we get attached to. That even if we're consciously choosing something else, if we haven't resolved them, then they're still in the background. So they don't really allow us to fully step into and take that next leap forward. So the tools are to align, first of all, to align. What is that new version of yourself? What is that new vision of yourself that you're seeing, that version of you in the future? And what is in the way of you of becoming that person? And very much with love and compassion, seeing those parts of yourself that are still carrying the small fragments of the past and sorting them out and bringing them into alignment to that new version of you, to that new state of joy, to that new state of peace, to that new state of leadership, the new state of service, the new state of contribution, the new state of being a facilitator or a leader in the world or a light worker in the world. So we get to embrace and we get to love all parts of ourselves, to integrate and to be able to choose that new identity, that new version of ourselves that we're stepping into fully and wholly. Um, even now, like with some of the practices that I do for during our sessions, I ask them to name that identity that they want to become. And when they name that identity, there are different indications. Either there's a break in their voice, there's a misalignment in the throat, there's a misalignment in the heart space. And the individuals can feel that when they say, I am this, they can feel that misalignment. And again, that's just an indication that there's still a little part of us that is not quite choosing that new identity, that is not quite choosing to live that freedom, to live that joy, to live that abundance, to live that empowerment. And when we look at where is that being held, whether it's in our any of more multidimensional selves or in the body itself, then we can bring that forth and we can connect to that. We can uh, even alchemize that and replace that with a higher frequency and then feel that alignment. So there's a practice, like an actual practice by stating and feeling your energy through your body, as well as, the healing that takes place in the alchemy of the emotions.
I would I would love to just right here maybe call on a participant and have you do a little process with them so that we can have the experience of your work. Would that be okay?
Yeah, we can do that. Or we can even do it with the whole group.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Do you need to see everybody or should we stay just like we are?
No, this is perfect. But what we want to start with is what is the next level? So everyone gets to choose what is the next level of you.
Mm,
And we can choose something general too. We can choose like I'm wealthy, I'm abundant, or we can choose I am a leader in the world, or a visionary in the world, or I'm a light worker in the world. Something that everybody or the majority can relate to.
mhm. I'm feeling just because we're in this summit of holding a higher frequency, what if we do something around frequency? Is something coming to you? It could be the frequency of abundance because that
Mhm.
kind of just opens us up to whatever
Yeah.
abundance is for that person.
Okay, yes, let's do that. Let's do abundance.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and first come together. So let's come into this beautiful energy that we're coming into the space of creation. So everybody could just take a deep breath. And if you're comfortable, turn on your camera if you're comfortable. Sometimes when we say yes and we're saying yes to be seen, you're being more intentional in receiving and having. So go ahead and take a deep breath. And if you feel comfortable, turn on your camera. Okay. So as you're coming into the space, feel what's comfortable for you to come into the center of your head or the center of your heart. And then we're going to go ahead and state, and I'm going to read the group energy and I'm going to go in individually as well. So the intention is to embody the frequency of abundance. So let's go ahead and move into that intention. I am, I am pure frequency.
Your frequency.
I am pure frequency. I am pure source light.
I am pure source light.
I am abundance.
I am abundance.
Okay. So what you want to notice is how well you're receiving this statement, how well you're integrating, how well you're owning this statement, how well you're allowing this to be your truth. And where I notice the energy being stuck, it's in the throat. So we're going to go ahead and clear the throat area. So go ahead and take a deep breath. We're going to go ahead and clear the throat. So the throat is about integrity. It's about speaking your truth. It's about creating, manifesting as well with the power of your word. So some of you don't feel quite aligned. And part of that sometimes because we're focused on your environment or we're focused on what happened in the past. So go ahead and just be in this moment of now. Go ahead and take another deep breath and just bring your awareness to your throat. We're going to release that energy. It kind of looks like this energy that's just floating around in the throat area. So we're going to allow that to release. You're a creator being. You create with the power of your words. So we want to be in the integrity with that. The choice, the beingness, the thoughts. We want to align all of that with I am. Okay, good. There's been the I can see the opening now. Now come back to your intention. I now embody the frequency of abundance. I am abundance. And feel that through your body. And I can feel some of you in the heart space opening and wanting to open the back of the heart space. But what I also feel, which is interesting because we talked about this earlier, is trust. Is how do I know that this is happening just by saying it? So go ahead and take a deep breath. So you can call it trust, you can call it radical faith, and you can call it deep knowing, or you can call it just gonna go with it. I'm gonna let the universe, or I'm just gonna go with it in this moment. So go ahead and take a deep breath. Very good. I am abundance. Beautiful. I felt the energy sinking into your heart space. Now that it's in your heart space, we actually want to move it through your full, through your full chakra system. So it becomes integrated and it becomes part of creation. It becomes part of creating stability and taking steps forward. And it fuels your power as part of your power to create. Go ahead and take one more deep breath. I am abundance. I embody the frequency of abundance. I am pure frequency, pure light in this moment. Okay, I can see your heart space and the back of your heart space open. Now there's a little bit of a block going into the power center. The power center sometimes gets blocked, especially when it comes to past experiences, when we focus on past experiences, because we're often blaming ourselves for them. So go ahead and take a deep breath. And in this moment, we're just going to be here now. We're not going to be in the past and we're not going to be in the present. We're just in this moment of now, of I am. I am love. I am peace. I am kindness. I am compassion. I am joy. And I can feel you relaxing, allowing that constriction to open up. So go ahead and continue to allow it to open up. So this is you giving to yourself, right? This is you deciding, I get to bless myself. I get to embody more of who I am. I get to be more of who I am. I get to gift myself this. I get to be in the presence of all that I am. I get to be in this frequency of light and love and joy and blessing and gratitude. I am abundance. I am source frequency, source energy, source light, source consciousness. One more deep breath and continue to allow that expansion to move. Very good. Moving through. Okay, one more deep breath. Now continue with your statement. You want to make sure that you accept it at all levels. I flow in the frequency of abundance. The frequency of abundance flows through me with ease. I am vibrating. I am radiant. I am abundant. And I can feel the expansion through your sacral area. One more deep breath. Really open. Yes. Allow yourself. Open up to fully become, embody, know that you are abundance. Beautiful. Yeah. Many of you are already moving it through your root chakra. Beautiful. And go ahead and expand it through your feet. I am. One more deep breath. And can stay in this moment of now. I am. And feel the radiance of the light coming through your crown and expanding through your field as you're being bathed in the frequency of abundance, in the frequency of wealth, in the frequency of more and more. Go ahead and take one more deep breath and just feel yourself experience this beautiful blessing, this beautiful overflow of abundant energy, abundant frequency. Beautiful. Some of you are extending your angel wings. Beautiful. Now that you're in this beautiful space of I am, and you're fully open, you're fully receiving it, you're fully allowing it to move through every level of who you are. Go ahead and expand it through your field, through the cellular level, all the way down through the DNA level. We want to flush it through our DNA level. We want to clear out old fragments and allow this new frequency to activate within you, within your DNA, a new level of being, a new level of consciousness, a new level of awareness, a new level of vibration. One more deep breath. Lots of beautiful colors, lots of purple, lavender, pink colors. For some of you, blue at the top of the head, around the third eye and crown. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Go ahead and just notice your own colors. Notice your own vibrancy. Notice how you're embodying. And notice the feel of the flow. Like feel that flow of light, that beingness that you're in, that expandedness, that abundance that you're in. And in this moment, go ahead and expand this feeling to the vision that you want to create in your life, whether it's just living every day from this space or extending it to your career, extending it to your relationships, extending it to your family, extending it to your financial, financial surplus, to your health. Go ahead and do that now. Just go ahead and expand it to every area of your life. I flow in the frequency of abundance. I am abundant. I am abundance. I am universal abundance. I am source abundance. I am the source of my abundance. One more deep breath. And keep and allow that flow from your heart space as well. It just looks like this beautiful lotus flower that keeps blooming. One more deep breath. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful. You can continue to play with this energy, the state of being, with this frequency that you're in this moment. When you're ready, you can come back. Experience the consciousness, the intelligence, the knowing within yourself. Experience yourself as a sovereign being, as a mighty creator. Experience yourself fully amplified, fully activated in this frequency of I am abundance. Beautiful.
Maria. It's the craziest thing just happened when you were doing that. Okay, I live like in a college town, and the neighborhood I'm in is all these little old cute houses. It's a college town. That whole time you were doing that, I kept hearing there was like a chickens that were like clucking and doing their little chicken thing, and I'm like, there are never have I heard a chicken before. And as soon as you ended, they stopped. That is so I'm gonna have to look up what chicken is. Does anybody know what chicken is? I feel like it might have to do with abundance because they lay abundant of eggs. I just thought that was so fun. Oh my gosh, I'm just like blown away. I don't even know.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Abundance is all around us.
It's so
Beautiful.
fun. All right, so let's see what the time we are. So we still have some time. I think I'd like to open it up to the gallery and allow people to ask questions if you're okay with that.
Yes, absolutely.
And then we'll let you kind of do a shout out of how people can find you. So I'm just gonna if you want to just raise your hand if you have a question or if you'd like to share what your experience was with the process that Maria just shared with us. We'd love to hear from you. Don't be shy. I had chickens, so come on. Oh my goodness. No one wants to share. Okay, beautiful. Go ahead, Diana.
Um, I felt that when she was doing it, like I have some kind of armor or something that says I don't deserve, even though I do deserve. So I felt that dissolving to open a space that I could allow abundance in. And I think that through the solar flares we've had, I felt that a lot of old stuff was being dissolved. And so when she did it, it felt like a washing, you know, like the icing on the cake, a washing of those old female beliefs dissolving. And that was really beautiful. Yeah.
So,
Beautiful. I love that.
mm. And how are you feeling now, Diana? Do you feel like that is fully processed through?
I feel like in the solar plexus, the root chakra, it's still going in and working,
Mhm.
clearing that not belonging energy, I guess, that
Mhm.
not belonging energy in there. But up here, I feel, and my head and my crown feels so much freer. Yeah.
Maria, do you have, I'm just feeling in just my intuition that this is something that we'll all be experiencing for probably a couple of days because it's always that way, right? It's like this is just the press the go button and then it all kind of starts to unfold. Do you have a reflection on that?
Yeah. So the root chakra often is where we get stuck because it's kind of the bridge to the manifestation. And a lot of times we hold shame there. But as you were talking, I felt the energy moving and even unconsciously you processing what you were holding there. Um, and you actually said it, belonging, right? It's our ability to feel safe in our space, this ability to feel safe in our environment and even in our body. So you're already integrating belonging in your body, belonging in your space, belonging in your environment. And that's the bridge, just you feeling safe to receive what's available to you. So I can see it already moving through and you extending that flow of abundance all the way through and connecting to Mother Earth and saying, here I am to claim it all. Beautiful, Diana.
Thank you for sharing, Diana. Rosemary?
Yes, I did look up chicken and it means financial stability or to embrace a new beginning.
Beautiful.
That. Thank you for looking that up. I just kept going to the eggs and that's what I was saying. Like I kept seeing actually golden eggs. So that's really fun. Thank you for looking that up. Jody.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a frequency junkie. Just so good to be here. Um, I want to say two things. One is going back to where we started about how do you hold your higher frequency in every, and I really think the first step for that is to just intend for that. Actually, just when you're there, just the intention that that's where I'm going shifts shifts you immediately, as you might say, Jules, behind the frequency. It becomes an inquiry or listening and an openness that takes you completely out of the story or the emotional, which is a lower frequency. So just the notion that that's where I'm going to go will immediately. So that just came to me then. And then, Maria, I had a really interesting experience with you, and I'm just wondering, like, I felt like when you first came in and Jules and the two of you were having a conversation, I actually was not hooking in vibrationally. I was, in the witness position. But the minute you dropped down to do your thing just now, I went just, like, to me, your frequency, my experience of your energy field is it just went from like a 1 to a million. And I guess in that question, I'm wondering if you feel that, because the minute you went into what I was going to say, your gift, because that's how it just went shoom. And it was very particular because I will grab every second to do it. Like, I'm in these constantly. It's like I'm just chosen to live from frequency. So I'm in so many of these. And I'm just telling you, yours was extremely, for me anyway, very powerful. And so do you have a feeling when you drop into that space? Do you feel
Yeah.
that I'm reflecting back, kind of? I don't know how else.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. And that's why I love that practice that I was talking about earlier, like doing that daily practice of stepping into it and just, being in that frequency because it's so expansive. And, everything that we talked about, like the healing, the trust, all of that begins to minimize, fade away because now you're in this beautiful space that is just creation itself, this beautiful space of everything is possible. There's infinite abundance, infinite everything. Yes, thank you, Jody. Appreciate that.
So, like, Jules, that's like, what I would say is that's like a nuanced, it's like that's the 0 point, right? Would you like, so you go to 0 point, it's coming through Maria as this experience, right? I mean, I don't know. Like, that's the words I would put to it.
I have two reflections. First, I want to go to your first part of intention. For me personally, every morning I wake up and I set the intention that my high self will meet the high self of everyone that I come in contact with, which is just like a really fun way to experience life. And it's something that's so ingrained with me that that's what my experience is, right? So that's just, I wanted to share that. And then what I love about your experience with Maria is to see that light in her and to have that experience that she just shared with all of us is because you are holding that as well, and you are able to consciously connect to that frequency within yourself. So the question is, were you feeling you, or were you feeling her, or were you feeling the reflection of that frequency between the two of you? And then of course we have this group of people which amplify frequency because together we're choosing to have this high frequency experience through the frequency of abundance. And so when we go to, well, the why, I just open it up and just say, you know what? Who cares? This is the experience that we all showed up to have. And Maria did such a beautiful job of facilitating through her gift of tapping into that frequency and sharing it. And your gift of tapping into that frequency within you and sharing it with everybody else created an experience.
Mm.
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 So beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Jody. All right, Kathy, let's go with you. And then I think we're going to be about out of time.
Maria, I felt like that like I was in the spin cycle of a washing machine, but it was so calm, so loving, and there was no fear there. There was just it was like shaking off just a lot of stuff. It was just anything that was that I needed to let go of as far as abundance goes. It was just a really beautiful space.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. I love what you said earlier too, Jules, that we're here all co-creating together, right? We're all coming in and we have the intention of openness and receiving and then, you know, moving into that higher intention as a group to experience ourselves and experience together. So thank you. Thank you for your feedback as well. It was lovely.
And thank you for just bringing your love and your light. You're such a pure, open being. And I know everybody can feel that. I know I can. And with that, Maria, let's have you just do a little shout out, maybe like a last word of wisdom, and then also where we can connect to you.
Yeah, well, the word of wisdom is, you know, continue to be you. So you and your I am and whatever it is that you want to create, embody that and play with that. Be very playful with that. Um, and create that your own relationship with yourself, your higher self and source, because that's a beautiful relationship. Once we have that, it's just so easy to be in that space. You know, and I know we all have that, you know, but we can always continue to build upon that. Everything is infinite. So, you know, the more you're in that space of creation, there's so much available to you. So be playful. Continue to play with everything that is love and joy and source and frequency and creation. Um, and intentional with the next level of you, you know, the next level of your quantum, whatever that may be, and enjoy the journey. Um, you can connect with me on either Instagram, 360 Prosperity. You can connect with me on my website, 360 Prosperity. You can connect with me on Facebook, Maria Martinez, or 360 Prosperity. You can connect with me on YouTube, Maria Martinez, or 360 Prosperity. Um, any questions that come up, happy to answer. If you just want to have a quick reading, I do have discovery readings on my website if you like to book one. Otherwise, it's been such a pleasure to be with all of you. So fun to play in this energy, this beautiful space that you hold, Jules. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this. It's so beautiful. And I love being in your space as well because you also really embody your frequency, your home frequency, and it's so beautiful to see and how it reflects out into the world. Thank you. Thank you for being you and everything that you create.
I appreciate that. What a sweet way to end this. And thank you for bringing your gift. And thanks everyone for showing up and just bringing your love and your light to create this beautiful container for us all to experience the frequency of abundance. And I hope that you're feeling connected deeper into your home frequency so that you can bring that out into the world. Sending you all so much love. And until we meet again, go live your highest frequency.